What's up guys, Elder on here, back on Gran Turismo, looking for our first win in online races. We're going to head to Laguna Seca for this one. As you'll see from this first clip, it's going to be quite difficult to get that first win as we're in lobbies where we're just going to get punted from behind going into the famous corkscrew. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge that we're going to have to work with fighting against these lobbies. You see, we're only in the D class though, so it's kind of expected that it's not going to be the best quality of driving here. But into the first race, qualifying in 7th, back in the 911 from the last race. You see we got on quite well with that, so we're going to hope that the 911 works for us as well here. Okay, off the lines, we're following the Spaniard up the hill. We got down the hill into the first corner, and as we head through the first corner, the Spaniard is going to just go off into the gravel for some fun at the beach early on this race. We get nudged and spun round early on, so it's not going well for us already. We're dropping way down the pack, having to recover from this, down into 13th after 2 corners. So as we head at the end of lap 1, as we hopefully now start our recovery, we go a bit wide, and we're going to have to pull back over 14.5 seconds to try and win this race here. So later on into the second lap, our friend here also goes for a nice beach day out to the right hand side as we come up the hill heading towards the corkscrew. We've lost a bit of time to the leaders even further, but a nice bit of carnage there. There's one car off to the right. We overshoot several, maybe 4 or 5 cars also all going off there. We've managed to pull ourselves all the way up to 9th and now to 8th as the Audi R8 goes off to the right hand side as well. So after 2 laps, we've managed to recover into 8th. A nice yellow flag is on the left hand side. We have someone else off and up to 7th now as we head through. We're quite a bit off 6th place, so we're going to speed through this next part of the lap. So 7th place coming to the corkscrew again. Can we benefit here at all? As yes, someone else goes wide, the Brit there, trying to cut the corner in the Aston Martin, so up to 6th place. We don't do too well through there, but we have lost time to the lead as well at the same time, even though we're heading forward. So lap 4 now into the corkscrew again, still in 6th. Not really making a dent here at all into that gap ahead of us, but we do have Subaru trying to challenge from behind as we go wide into this left-hander and drop down into 7th, into 8th as 2 cars come past us. So that's not great at all, and really no chance here of anything. As we go into the final lap now, midway through, we have a car off on the left-hand side, which will give us a nice place back into 7th, as long as we give them enough room in the Mazda. Easily get around the outside there, back up into 7th place, but 26 seconds off the lead. Not really what we want at all. As we come to the final part of the lap here, it looks like 7th is going to be the place where it's barring a mistake. One of the 2 cars directly ahead of us. We've just got to get safely through here, and we'll have to focus on the next race ahead to hopefully get that first win. There is a yellow flag ahead of us as someone way back in 15th who we're lapping is obviously having some more troubles again. Into the right-hander still. We closed a bit on the German ahead of us, but not really anything here to get excited about. We come around the final corner, it will be 7th place for us in this first race. So we're going to be relying on later races to try and get this win. We head into our second race, qualifying in 3rd this time, bit of qualifying in between to help as being in the middle of the pack into turn 1. Turn 2 is not a great area to be. We get a great jump here off the start, challenging for 2nd place. Going to look to go on the outside into turn 1, maybe try and get a little switchback, but we're a bit slow on the second part, so we're not able to do that. Just stick in 3rd, as we just going to trail behind the 2 leaders for a little bit on the lap there. As we head later on, before we get to the corkscrew, we get a better exit than the car in front of us. It's going to go side by side into the entrance of the corkscrew, which could end very badly for us. We back out, but the leader heads off onto the left-hand side into the gravel, into the sand trap. So we go up into 2nd place as we're challenging for the lead. A bit of a bump down the inside. Managed to hold the car onto the track just about and keep into 2nd place to hopefully challenge for the lead soon. That nice free place from Gordy there has given us a real chance of getting a win in this race. It's ended a 1st lap in 2nd place behind our friend Damage here, fellow Brit, who hopefully we should be able to get past, as we did have that bit of extra speed before we gained that place through the corkscrew. So we might actually have a chance here of making an overtake quite soon, and hopefully getting up into the first place that we want. We're just going to have to trail for a bit and wait for the opening. Especially when you're in these D-class races, it's actually sometimes better to not go for the move and just wait for the mistake, because they're going to be fully aware that you're behind you. So as long as you can stay patient, stay on the track, there's every chance that they just make a mistake and you get given the place for free. So we're not going to try anything too risky, I don't think, trying to get this first place, especially this early on. We have a few laps that we can afford to wait for as we hit the curb with the inside there. Isn't something you want to do around Laguna Seca. Big sausage curbs with the fast corners you don't really want to be on at all. Looking to put a bit of pressure into the corkscrew again, trying to stick on the inside and hopefully avoid a penalty there that we just managed to keep a toe on the track, because we don't want to get a penalty here and lose that pressure from behind. So a whole lap behind first place, just trailing, is really what we want. We're a bit late on the brakes there, overshoot slightly from the corner, which isn't going to give us a good exit across the start-finish line, which really we could have done with to hopefully get the move done into the braking zone of turn 1. We're going to have to trail again now. He defends to the inside. We're going to stick on the outside here, try and get a little switchback. Can we get a better exit? Not really. We do close the gap a bit, but no time for anything into turn 2 here. Just going to stick on the back again. We go slightly wide into the sand, which isn't going to help either. But we managed to get a lot of speed on the out through the right-hander, but not able to find a gap to go through. Just going to have to keep the pressure on the outside here. Be able to make a lovely move round the outside of the long left-hander and up into first place halfway through this race. We have a real chance for a win here. So make sure to subscribe for future videos, as you see on the screen there, as we head through to later on in the race. We have someone challenging us through the corkscrew. Gordy has come back from the dead to challenge us for the win now, as he's come through from third. So we're going to have to be wary of that as we finish lap 4 and into the final lap of this race. We're going to have a bit of a challenge on our hands. They're less than a second behind, and we run a bit wide, get a toe in the gravel on the exit, so we're going to have a poor exit here, and he's going to have a real chance, or should easily get past on the inside as he does. It'll briefly come on the screen here, as you can see, into turn 1. We'll have the inside line. We try to go for an outbreak, but on the dirty side of the track, trying to switch back on the inside to get a bit of speed, but Gordy has got ahead of us here, and we're in real danger now of not actually seeing this race off and earning the win, which from the place we're in we really should have done, and we don't have time to wait for a mistake again either, as we go slightly wide again, trying to push to get this place back, and Gordy's managing to get slightly ahead of us. Bit of a slide there as the back end comes out. We're really trying to push the car a bit more to see if we can get an overtake done before we finish this race. We have less than half a lap to go. Nice bit of speed through the left-hander as we come up the hill. We have that extra bit of speed to challenge through the corkscrew, slightly off track, a little bit of a nudge, looking for the switchback and switchback again. Can we get the speed out of the corner? Not really. He's managed to get ahead, and he's going to be able to block us on this exit. So only 2 corners left. He runs a bit wide. We try and stick as tight as possible, but get on that sausage curb. He's going to slow us down a bit. We have no choice but to look up the inside and hope that we can get a good exit from the corner. We get right on his tail, trying to get something, but don't have the acceleration out, and Gordy's going to win and pushes into second. But that has put us up a driver rating. We're into a C-class race now, which means we're qualifying down in 10th. But these safety ratings are atrocious, so we're going to have to be really careful and really wary in this race, as could be quite a bit of carnage on our hands here as we try and avoid these clearly obvious dirty drivers. So into turn 1, we're going to try and stay out of danger as we see a bit of challenging going on ahead of us between the 2 Aston Martins. As one goes wide, we have someone going backwards in a Porsche, which isn't very helpful. More bashing between the 2 cars ahead here, which opens up the gap for us to try and move up into 8th. A little bit of nudging there as well, and the Porsche just gets pushed off to the left. The other Porsche in the Gulf livery off to the right hand side, off the track. We're getting challenged around the outside, up in 6th. Massive hit on that sausage curb, and we actually hit the Frenchman off the track there by accident. So we're now coming down to the level of these safety ratings. Hit the inside curb again, unsettling us, but we managed to keep in 6th, whether that's rightfully or wrongly after that hit into the car on the right hand side. Nice and clean, or it was clean until the Porsche spins the Italian in the GTR off to the right hand side at the end of the corkscrew. We get bashed from the inside from the German here. We go off the track, manage to hold it together, and he manages to hold it together quite well with the back end everywhere. A fellow Porsche coming through around the inside here as we look to take the place back on the inside. We have another Porsche off at the final corner who's now holding up the German who hit into us earlier, which is probably going to help us as we try and gain places. We managed to hold off the car behind and stay in 6th. So can we try and make a move on these two slower cars now? Looking round the outside to turn 1. A big bash there from the German, and thankfully the ghosting saves us, otherwise we would have been going straight into the side of the car there, but we have lost a place because of that. We weren't very quick through that corner. We're going to lose a place again as a fellow Porsche comes through into 6th place. We drop to 7th, which is backwards is not the way we want to go. Also, we weren't expecting this to be an easy race going up a driver class, as the German's unsettled ahead of us again. He's not doing a great job of staying on the track and keeping his back end under control here, which could benefit us later on if he's able to keep making mistakes and possibly hold these two drivers up to give us some free places. I said we weren't expecting this to be an easy race. We're going to have some more bumping into each other, stock car racing style from the two Porsches, as the second one also goes off the track to the left hand side there, putting us up into 5th place. So 2 free places there, very helpful. And we have our German friend from before ahead of us, so hopefully if he can make a mistake we'll be able to get ourselves up into 4th, but we are 7 seconds off the lead, so going for a win probably isn't going to be an option here, as we're just going to go through the rest of this lap at a bit of speed, as we just haven't trying to close down the driver ahead of us, which we're able to do at the end of lap 3. You can see we've closed right onto the back now, 4th place. 3rd place has obviously picked up a penalty going slowly and ghosting across the start-finish line, so we're going to pick up the 4th place here, and something must happen between the leaders as we're now 2 seconds off the front of the race here in our first C-class race, and with an actual chance of maybe getting something from this race as long as we can keep it together. Again, the German has settled ahead of us, which keeps the spirits alive for maybe a podium if he can make a mistake, and we can keep the rest of this race quite clean with a bit of pace. So we manage to keep up to the back of here, fairly similar to where we were. The German goes wide and gives us a real chance here, but we're not able to get enough speed through the exit, as we don't want to risk running into him, as we have a car off on the right hand side, 2nd place now dropping all the way down as he's gone to the beach for a nice fun day. We're up into a podium place now in our first C-class race, right on the tail of a chance of 2nd, and if we can get past this guy fairly quickly we might be able to hang on to the back of 1st place as well into the final lap, but we're slightly wide into the sand as we're trying to push the car to stay on the back here and try and get past, which drops us off the back and into the final lap. Again, we're just not close enough here to be able to make a move at any point. The 3rd place is what we're looking at to try and finish this race now. Again, a little unsettled ahead of us into the long left-hander, but not enough for us to get anywhere closer onto the back. A big hit onto the inside curb and we've spun, and it's not going to be a podium for our first C-class race. We drop into 4th and have no grip on the gravel on the outside of this track here, and it's a horrible rejoin from us as well. Completely unsafe as everyone is now coming flying past us. Down into 8th as we start to get going up the hill. Down into 9th as Porsche comes past us, and a 2nd one, although he does have a penalty, but I don't think it's going to be much help anymore. We're down into 10th place because of that spin. We could have had a podium, but we have ruined it for ourselves with that big hit on the curb. The Porsche in front of us, massively unsettled, somehow holds it together. Give us a chance of maybe picking up a 9th place if we can get something nice on the outside. He drifts to the right side, we get the back end out, then get rammed from the Aston Martin through the corner as well. We drop all the way down to 11th around the final corner. So it's not going to be a win here for us, and ends up being a disastrous race from what started off so well. Dropping back down a tier into the back into D-class races, we're starting at the front of the grid for this race, which gives us a great chance here for a win if we just stay on the track basically, not challenged into turn 1 down into the hairpin, which gives us a great chance because that's the worst part of or worst chance is someone just coming straight into the back of you there to try and gain a place. But we're able to successfully get through this first part of the lap quite safely, which sets us up quite nicely that as long as we have some decent pace, stay on the track, we have a real chance of getting our first win here. A bit wide missing the apex on the left-hander, but not too much of an issue, over half a second away behind us. So there's not too much to worry about. As long as we stay on the track and not ridiculously slow, we should be fine. Coming to the corkscrew for the first time in this race, nicely tucking to the left hand side, take a bit of the corner but manage to save it to avoid a penalty, not taking too much of that second part of the chicane. Again missing the apex on the left hander, but not too much an issue. We've gained a bit of time to the driver behind as well, so that will help us massively getting that gap up, so we don't have to worry so much from behind. Not great on the final corner, managed to save it, avoiding the gravel. We see 1.2 seconds after the first lap, slightly dropping to 1.1 along the straight, but again, not too much of an issue, nothing to worry about, so we managed to hold that second gap. Big hit again on the inside curve, that left hander. We enjoy doing that for some reason, despite knowing it doesn't help us. But managed to hold the car together, but it has dropped our time quite a bit, but managed to gain that through the left end of this lap, get that back quite nicely, taking a lot of curb there. The back end steps out slightly, but managed to hold the car, and we're back to around the 1 second mark as we finished the second lap. So although we lost some time, we were able to gain it back, which is quite helpful. So we know that we have speed in the latter part of the lap, especially will help us so we don't lose it right at the end. If that's the thing. Again, big on the sausage curbs. For some reason, keep hitting these sausage curbs, and we get challenged on the inside now as we've actually lost time because of this. We completely missed the apex, sliding through the corner. Thankfully, our competitor backs out, so it doesn't get wiped out from us. That wasn't great from us at all. We managed to hold on to first place for now, coming through the end of this lap, the end of lap 3. We've managed to gain that gap back to a second again, as you'll see in the left-hand side as we speed through lap 4. There's not really a challenge here at all, as he now drops off on the back 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds at the end of lap 4, up in that left-hand corner, over 3 seconds. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to him since he almost was able to take the lead off of us. So starting this final lap, we're in quite a comfortable position, over 3 seconds. We just have to stay on the track and not make any stupid mistakes, and a win will be ours, which is what we've come here for, what we're hoping for. Everything we're doing now is just trying to avoid those inside curves as much as possible, or should do, or not going too slowly in doing so, so we can make sure we stay on the track, because the last thing we want to do is like the last race where we hit that curb and we still managed to do it, even though we know what could happen. That left-hander keep causing us problems of going too tight on there. Managed to avoid it through the uphill left-hander this time. There's no slide into the gravel. 3 seconds is still the gap. So nice and safe through the corkscrew. Navigate that without any penalties or going into the gravel. Nice and safe, nowhere near that right-hand bend. To make sure we don't get a penalty. Nicely on the inside of the left-hander here, and the win will be ours as long as we can get past this final corner, which is looking very likely as we head into the left-hander now. It is first place for us, and it's our first win on GT7 online. We've finally got it after working through some questionable driving from other drivers. So if you enjoyed that, be sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and hit that notifications to see future races from myself.